know we're going to have a few people joining us in the next couple of minutes, but want to just say good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Jackie Garner, and I work in Business Career Services and work really closely with David and Lacey, and really excited to be hosting this panel today as a part of our Walker Spring Connect series of events. There's a ton of other events happening this week, so I encourage you to check it out. Couple of just housekeeping items real quick. We are going to be recording this session, so just want to give you a heads up on that. And as Lacey mentioned, just be sure to have your camera on. We will have time for student questions throughout the panel. I think we're just going to start with a couple questions that we've generated and let the conversation sort of flow from there as needed. And as Lacey mentioned as well, there will be a giveaway at the end just to throw something fun in the mix. So stay tuned until the end of the panel for a chance for that. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dr. Marlette here, and he'll introduce our panelists this morning.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everybody, and do appreciate your cameras being on. I noticed, Derek, you just turned yours off, and it looked like you were on a boat going pretty fast. So if you can turn that back on, that was pretty entertaining. So thank you for all of our panelists for being here. I'm going to quickly just go through and just give the name of the person, and they're going to handle their background, their role, what led them into insurance, just kind of a quick overview. And panelists, I'll just call you by name so as we keep things moving. And appreciate y'all being here. So Gina, would you please start off and again give your name, background, what you do, and what led you to your career in insurance?
That's a lot of questions. Well, let me see how many of those I can take care of for you. For myself, my dad was an insurance agent, and so I worked with my dad in his agency from the time I was 9 on. I went to Emory thinking I wanted to get out of insurance because I didn't think that I wanted to work in an agency, and he had a non-standard auto agency. But when I went to college, I ended up exploring lots of other roles, and I've done a lot of different things. Right now, I'm serving as the Chief Executive Officer of the Beach and Fair Plans. We write almost $100 billion worth of property in the state of North Carolina. In addition to that, we have about 400,000 policyholders and almost $500 million in premium. I've also served on the company side as a product manager. I've served in operations. I've served as a business center manager over all the southeastern states. So I feel like and I've also worked in both commercial and I've worked now in personal lines. So for me, I think the one thing that I like to talk about is that, you know, if you go into something like I did as a child and realizing that, you know, I really think I wanted another avenue in insurance, that there's lots of avenues that you can go into. And I think I fell back in love with insurance when I didn't really want to do non-standard auto with my dad. And so I think that that's one thing I was very happy to get to serve on this board today in this panel with your other very distinguished panel members to talk about the diversity that you have in your career and you can have in your career.
Thank you, Gina. Mark, would you mind going next, please?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Mark Crabb, National General Insurance, Vice President of Claims of the Mid-Atlantic Division here in Winston-Salem, so not too far from you guys. I started off as a claim rep trainee, which is what I'm hiring for now. I will hire between 100 and 105 a year, and I can tell you I hire mainly Mountaineers where I can. I would say probably 30 to 35 of those 100 I hire are from App State. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys today. Let's see, you know, I've had a lot of opportunities here at National General, from claim rep to frontline claims manager, field manager, telephone manager, a lot of opportunities to work my way up. So big company, a very secure company. We were actually just recently purchased by Allstate. So now we're bigger than I can even get my head around. But yeah, looking forward to getting to know you guys, answer some questions, and get you excited about maybe being a claim rep. A lot of people, I know whenever I graduated from Chapel Hill, and I know that's a love-hate thing. So some of you love me now and some of you hate me, and that's fine. But just know I was not one of those crazy Tar Heel fans. I just went there for the education, and that's where my friends were. But anyway, I got out of college, had no idea what I wanted to do. I majored in mathematics. There was this big building downtown Winston-Salem. Gave somebody I knew a resume, and here I am 33 years later, and with absolutely no regrets. Been able to use my analytical and problem-solving abilities from a math degree, and it's worked out very well. So yeah, looking forward to our discussion today. And it's good to see all you guys. I wish it was in person, but I understand. But hopefully in the fall we'll be back together, because I miss coming up there and interacting with you guys.
We absolutely miss having you all visit campus, but appreciate the ability that we're able to do it today. And we do have a remarkably large turnout, so this is fantastic. Students, if you do have a question, please just put it in chat, and then I'll let the speakers know that, and we can ask them. Orlando, you're up next, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Orlando Camargo. I am a recruiter with Auto Owners Insurance down here in Charlotte. I am part of a recruitment team of about 18 recruiters throughout our 26 states that we have offices in. Auto Owners is a property and casualty insurance company working strictly through the independent agent. So if you guys are familiar with the producer side too, or the agency side, we work strictly through them. They are like the number one, channel that we use for our policyholders and to secure our business. I've been with the company 6 years now. It will be 7 this year. I started just 2 weeks out of college with no insurance background at all. Didn't even go to school for insurance, or my campus didn't even have an RMI major or a GIS chapter. But Auto Owners recruits a lot at schools that don't have GIS chapters and RMI majors and minors. And I got introduced to insurance just by a connection that I made from meeting one of the regional vice presidents at a networking dinner, and just talking to him about his experience. And he was also an alumni of the school, so we talked about that. So in those conversations, we just started to develop just a friendship. That's it, just a friendship. Which then he introduced me to the company, and then that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. I started in underwriting as an associate underwriter, and then did some personal lines work, commercial lines, and then now in recruiting. But if it wasn't for that introduction, I would have probably never gotten into insurance. Turns out the office where I started was right across the street from my high school as well, which I had no idea what that brick building was across the baseball field. I would see it all the time, and then found myself with my first job out of college out of there. So it's been a great ride so far. In underwriting, but now in recruiting, working with some with claims and IT and actuarial. So sitting now, I get to see the big picture of the company, and bring that to you guys and talk about my experience in the company to schools with our RMI major like App State, and other schools that we recruit at that don't have one.
Thank you, Orlando. And now I guess the speaker, probably from the warmest location, Decker, are you in Daytona?
I am in Daytona.
Well, welcome, and please introduce yourself now.
I will, thank you. Good morning. My name is Decker Youngman. I am with Brown & Brown Insurance, headquartered in Daytona Beach, Florida. And my current position is Chief Recruiting Officer. And a lot of times people think I'm from the HR side. We don't really have HR at Brown & Brown. We call it people, not human resources. But I kind of cringe when I hear that, because my background is sales. I came to Brown & Brown 40 years ago. And the first 20 some years I spent in sales as a producer, and then I became the sales leader of our Daytona Beach office. And since 2013, I've been recruiting full time, because that's such an important need for our company. We like to have organic growth of people, future leaders. And so I spend all my time doing this kind of thing, trying to meet students and bring young people into the organization so that they can grow. Probably like many people from my generation or my age, I kind of got into insurance by accident. I graduated from Wake Forest University back in the old days, and I thought I was going to be a banker, majored in finance, but none of the banks were hiring, and it looked like I wasn't going to get a job. A fraternity brother of mine had accepted a job with the Aetna Casualty in Charlotte and said, you ought to interview with them. So because it said Aetna Life and Casualty, nobody else signed up for an interview. I was the only person at Wake Forest to sign up for an interview, and I got a job offer. So I had one job offer, which seemed like a good opportunity for me to take that one. So I went to work for the Aetna in Charlotte. They moved me to Florida. And that's where I met Brandon Brown. And so Brandon Brown, our chairman, Hyatt Brown, had just gotten out of politics. He was the Speaker of the House, the Florida legislature decided to grow Brandon Brown. So that's when I came in. And we've grown from about 2.8 million in revenue to about 2.6 billion. So there's been a lot of rapid growth, a lot of new teammates that I've had the privilege of working with since that time. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Decker. Next question will be two parts. What do you like most about your career in insurance, and maybe what are some challenges or things that you struggle with through your career? And we'll go through the same order. So Gina, if you don't mind starting it off.
One thing I've loved about my career is I've loved the opportunity to get to do different things as I progress through different roles. And the one thing I would encourage any of the students as they start with a company, if your manager says, I have an opportunity for you, be the first to raise your hand, because some things that I did on a very small scale when I was, a business center manager at Ohio Casualty, I got the opportunity to help them with their reinsurance. And I got to do that at Builders Mutual. And now I place one of the largest reinsurance programs in the world. We spend, anywhere about $100 million on reinsurance. And so that's been really kind of exciting, and it's been kind of wonderful. And now we're doing some resilient stuff at the coast. And I don't know, I think that because insurance is so diverse, I don't have anything that I haven't liked. I think, I've had some jobs I haven't necessarily liked, and then I may have moved on to do something else. And, people don't leave companies, they usually leave managers. And so, sometimes you've got to look for a good organizational fit and a good manager. And so don't totally write off, the whole industry if you get into a job and, your manager is not, or the culture is not right for you, because there's different cultures at every company that you go into. And, the roles of all four of us, speaking on this panel today are different, and we're playing different roles. And I think there are places that you can find your niche.
Thank you, Gina. Mark?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of opportunities, and those opportunities still exist today for young people like you to come into the insurance field, and specifically into claims, and a lot of different roles in claims, a lot of different things that you can investigate. For example, fraud or coverage issues, material misrepresentation. Some people want to go to the field and learn how to write estimates. And I've done all those things. So I've enjoyed the opportunities, but the thing I've liked the most about it are the people that I've gotten to know. I worked really before COVID, golly, COVID, don't get me started. But before COVID, we had the best environment and culture that we've ever had here. I had worked really hard to handpick people, a lot of them mountaineers, to build an environment here to where, hey, you're going to come in and you're going to work hard, but you're going to love who you come in and do it with. And we had so much fun, so many activities. And that's by far been my favorite part. And my connection with App State, I only started 6 or 7 years ago, heavily recruiting from App. And now I've grown into a top recruiter. And I just love coming there. I love things like this, that the staff and employer relations people do. Take full advantage of that, because I can tell you it's not at all schools. You've got very special people there and your career coaches and staff that will really help you tremendously. But by far, the thing I've liked the most are the people that I've gotten to know, the people that I've hired, my relationship with App State, and watching those people that I've hired grow in their positions and in the company.
Thank you, Mark. And I know the students share your feelings on COVID, but we're almost there. I think we're on the
Yes,
home
we
stretch.
are. We're getting there. I actually getting my vaccine this evening. I'm very excited about it.
Good. All right. Congratulations. Let's see. Orlando, are you still on? I don't see your picture. Did this call drop perhaps? Decker, why don't you go ahead and we'll see if we can get in touch with Orlando again.
Sure. I think when I think of the things that I value or like about my career, it's kind of a three-pronged or three-legged stool. I think the third would be as an insurance broker and having incentive-based compensation, I've been able to earn really good income based on working hard and working smart and just kind of self-determined. And I think I value that. I mean, we all work because we want to make money, and so that's one of the real rewarding things. I've been able to make a really good income by just working hard and being in an organization and an industry that accentuates that. But probably a little bit more important than that would be, I think, enjoying the clients that I've had as a commercial insurance broker. In order to properly evaluate the risk faced by an organization and then match that up to a good insurance program, you really have to understand how that business operates. And so dealing with a business owner or CEO or CFO, I found that I've really gotten to a deep understanding of how various types of businesses operate. And so I think my business knowledge has increased dramatically since I've been a broker, and I've really enjoyed that. But probably the most gratifying, important thing are the people that I've worked with. I think obviously the income would be hollow if I was surrounded by people I didn't really care much about, but I've been surrounded by some very great people who I like to think that I've helped, but more importantly, they've helped me to be better. And at the, getting close to the end of my career, and I look back on it, I think if I had tried to plan it, I could not have planned it better in terms of what I've been able to do, the type of job that I've been able to do, and the people that I've been surrounded by.
Thank you, Decker. And it looks like Orlando, can you hear us? Are you on the phone? Okay, actually, well, he's getting that straightened out. Tanner actually asked a question. He addressed it to Gina, but I think all of you could certainly share your experience. And Tanner asked that different avenues and niches were mentioned in the RMI field, and he wants to know what tools or resources have you found to be the most useful in helping you find your niche? It's a great question.
I know that there are some, personality tests that you can, do to try to understand, if you're an extrovert or if you're an introvert, or if you, don't mind, conflict. When I'm trying to coach some people, it's like, there's definitely, do you want to be a backroom person or do you want to be a frontline person, and how does that work? So I think understanding your own personality is good. And then, you may go in, most of us went in various roles that we ended up not staying in. So I think, taking offers with companies that are willing to allow you to move from department to department, and then taking some education. Like right now, and I think this is like a really cool story, is that the lady who is running now is my IT director. She started off as a customer service rep in underwriting, and now her career, she's director of our IT department. And so she's definitely made that switch to something else. And so I think that that's get into a company, and then whatever role you get into, then start exploring and interviewing and talking. And I think talking to people about what it's like, I always try to let new hires sit down with somebody doing the job. And I think sitting down with a lot of people that are doing the job, and I think any of us would allow you to come in and, talk with our staff, have interviews with our staff, or maybe even sit down with our staff. What does it look like? And I think I give people access to my staff of what do you like and what do you not like, because I really hate turnover. And I think turnover really wastes your time and it wastes the company time. So the more you can understand about the culture, the company, the job, and then can you change jobs once you get in it is all very valuable.
Thank you, Gina. That was very helpful. And one thing I love about Gina, when she comes visits our classes, and seniors remember this, she usually brings a couple of books on careers and management and those sort of things too, which I think those are great resources as well. Mark, do you have any thoughts on how students can find their niche?
Keep an open mind. I never thought about going into insurance. I never specifically thought about going into claims. So just keep an open mind, or even once you get into a company, let's say you started off in claims here and you're investigating claims, making decisions, providing customer service. And then after a few years of that, you decide, well, hey, I'd like to learn something new, maybe in another department. A third of my turnover is internal, which is great because that means other departments want my people. They want you. They love the Mountaineers I hire. So just keep an open mind. You never know what you might enjoy doing. Typically, I invite people to come in and shadow a claim rep, and it's part of the interview process. Or even if somebody just thinks they're interested, I'll allow them to come in and sit with a claim rep for about 45 minutes. And that's very helpful for them because they really had no idea what a claim rep does. And they get to talk to one-on-one. What are they like? What are they not like? What are the challenges? But with COVID, we've had to shut that down for a while. I can't wait to get that back. But yeah, I would just say keep an open mind.
Thank you. Great advice, Mark. Decker, do you have anything to share?
Yes, I get asked that question a lot. And I think the reason is that, the insurance profession is so complex, and especially now it's gotten so complex, whether you're in underwriting or claims or wholesale brokerage or retail brokerage, there's a real challenge on just obtaining and learning knowledge. And I think that sometimes can be daunting to people. They think, well, if I find a niche where I can master something, then that'll make it an easier path for me. And that's probably true. But my advice to most students is don't try to find a niche, let the niche find you. Because I think a lot of people sometimes get themselves into a niche and it's just kind of like the risk versus reward. You've kind of got all your eggs in one basket. So I think will that be in terms of in a career, specific career, or in maybe finding a general career to begin with, is I think someone mentioned the personality assessment, and I think that's very important. Because if you think about it, we all deal with the same kind of insurance, whether it be retail brokerage, wholesale brokerage, underwriting. It's the same account that kind of works its way up the food chain. And so I think that what really determines where a person might fit best is how does their personality react to the dynamics of that particular career. And so I think it's really important to make sure you've got a good academic background, a professional development background like CPCU or ARM or CLU, something to separate yourself from other people. But then making sure that your personality matches up to the dynamics of that particular career, because in my view, that's what gives you the long-term sustainability that you can stay in a career for a long, long time.
Thank you. And also, students, be sure to keep your eyes open for emails from Lacey, because she'll send information on like job shadow days and the personality tests that were mentioned earlier, and those will help. And we'll also have our board members pitch in and help there as well. So always look for Lacey's emails. The next question is, this is a little more complicated given the state of the world right now, but there's some overarching trends you might address. But how do you view the job market in insurance currently, and maybe how does it look going forward in your opinion? And Gina, if you don't mind starting.
I would love to start. I think that there's certainly jobs evolve, but jobs have always evolved. So I think trying to continue to keep yourself current, because I'm sure that, if you talk with Mark or you talk with Decker or talk with myself, where we started out, early on in our career, we've had to learn a lot of new skills and a lot of new technologies. So I think, continually keeping yourself current so you can move. Like, for example, I talk to people that I may not need as many underwriters as I did, say, 20 years ago. But what I do need is I need business analysts. And what a business analyst is they stand between my programmers and my business front end users to tell the computer how to program it, what to program it. I need testers. I need people that are doing automated system testing. And so those are new jobs that weren't even there 25 years ago. We didn't talk about needing, project management or business analyst. And now a lot of us spend a lot of time, and I'm sure Mark and his staff does too, trying to redesign processes and trying to make them more efficient. So, two of the people that I've hired from App, they actually didn't go into my underwriting department. One of them is actually in an operations role, and another one is actually a subject matter expert on our rating systems. So I think that that's kind of interesting as you look at new trends coming down the pike. I just think jobs evolve, and all of us have to be committed to continuous learning. And, like, I thought it was really good that, Decker mentioned the whole working towards all of the designations, because that's very important, because it does separate you and it does distinguish you out. And I think, you know, Mark said that that's where he lost most of his people, was to other departments, which is cool because, you know, Mark is so positive and upbeat. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for Mark? I mean, heck, I want to change to work for Mark. He's got such a great culture. And so I think, you know, and I applaud him for helping his people grow. I don't get offended when somebody leaves me. If they go to another position, who knows, I may work for them one day.
Gina, I interviewed one of your employees yesterday. Just kidding, just kidding.
Mark, what are your thoughts on the job market currently and going forward?
It's hot. I need to hire at least 25 between now and a training class on June 7th. So we're growing. All states really supporting our growth, growing the independent adjuster channel. We're #1 in the state, and yeah, I need some people. So it's hot right now. Gina mentioned a couple things that have really changed over the last 20 years, these analyst and tester positions that come open. And I love the way you described it, Gina, as the in-between communicator between the systems and the department or whoever needs something, you know, new system. Again, I lose a lot of people to become testers or analysts. So, but yeah, from a claim standpoint, the market's hot right now.
Thank you, Mark. Decker?
Yes, I think the market for college graduates is especially in insurance, is tremendous. And I think everybody knows this, I'm stating the obvious, but whether you be an insurance carrier or a broker, wholesale broker, whatever, there's too many people that are my age in there, and there are not enough young people in. So we all have there's an age problem that we need to bring in young people to the organization. I think the good news is there are a lot of great risk management programs around the country, like Appalachian State, and everyone that I've worked with, they have a placement rate, a career placement rate of 98 to 99%. And I think there's very few other college degrees where they have a placement rate that's as high. And I think, and that's one is because it's such a specialized skill that students are learning, but that specialized skill is matching up to a profession and industry that has a real need for young people. So I think if you're in an RMI program, such as Appalachian State, you're in a great position for a career. And I think anybody who wants a career can find one, as opposed to other degrees where it may be a little bit harder. I think there's probably a little bit of dislocation now because of COVID. I think some companies have slowed down, but I can tell you that is just slowing down because the long-term need is significant for all of us to bring in young people to the organizations.
Thank you, Decker. And I think Orlando's back. Orlando, are you available to answer and provide your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, I actually never left. I was on the call the entire time, but the video kicked me out. So because I called from my phone, I was able to still hear you guys. And when I was trying to talk, you guys couldn't hear me. So I just started over again. But so my apologies for that. But just for time purposes, I don't want to answer the questions that were asked before, but just go forward with the question that's being asked now. And I would agree with Gina, Mark, and Decker about just how the job market it's booming. It's well oiled. I would say there's a lot of need for entry-level positions in the insurance industry, into mid-level too. We are taking on about 160 interns this summer throughout our company, throughout our 26 states, most of them in Michigan. Down in Charlotte, we're taking 3 in North Carolina and in Virginia as well. So these are an opportunity for you students to get a chance to get some experience in the insurance industry, relay that to what you're learning in the classroom, and really get a adjust and hone of if you see yourself doing this long term and full time. Because the investment that we make on our interns is we definitely want to turn them into full-time positions after graduation. So whether that's in claims or in underwriting, we want to get you in the door, get you the experience that that auto owners can provide you, or any company, and then give you the ability to get that hands-on experience to then pursue that into your career. Auto Owners also has an affiliate company, which is our surplus carrier, Atlantic Casualty Insurance, over in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And they have experienced such exponential growth after the partnership, just because we use the partnership to refer business to one another and grow each other's book of business. So therefore, they're needing a lot of positions too as well. We're hiring insurance trainees this summer. For any May grads on the call, we're looking for those. As well as entry-level positions in our offices outside of North Carolina as well too. So yeah, I mean, just to echo everything that they said, the insurance market for sure, it's definitely on the right track. We actually didn't stop hiring or experienced any layoffs through COVID, like most companies, unfortunately they did. And that's just because the insurance industry is very stable. If you haven't noticed already, it's going to be around forever. It's been around forever. And, with the different opportunities that the panelists have had on the call, you see, the growth and the opportunities that they have throughout their careers. We continue to see that, and we expect that to continue happening as the years progress too. So yeah, this is the right time to get into the insurance industry, as a recent grad.
Thank you, Orlando, and apologize for the tech problems, but appreciate your comments. And maybe you would, if you don't mind, once you field this next question that Jen Evans put in the chat, and she wants to know, she's a senior and ready to graduate. She wants to know how she can make herself stand out as a new employee. She's going into underwriting. She's planning on completing her CPCU and with the designation, but she's just curious what else she can do to, again, help her stand out as a new employee.
As a new employee, I would initially talk about that, what your goals are from the beginning. Tell your supervisor or whoever you're reporting, this is where I see myself with my career. So talk about what you want early, so they are aware of where they can, and what path they can lead you, what path they can train you to, so that you get there. One thing about the insurance industry is that we definitely want to see our associates succeed and progress on the position beyond just the one that they were hired in. We're a company that promotes from within, and I know other insurance companies do the same. So we don't want our associates to get, burnt out in a position that, that they start at. Definitely initially, get as much information as possible. Continue to ask questions if you're not sure, and seek those insurance educations, like designations like the CPCU. But from the beginning, let your manager know, whoever you will report to, that this is where you see yourself doing. And even if you don't know, ask for that guidance. Where can I see myself? How can I improve in the role that I'm doing to get to where I want to be?
Great advice, Orlando. Gina, would you share your thoughts on how new employees can help themselves stand out?
I think professionalism is very important. And I think what's really hard for a lot of new college graduates coming into a professional environment is understanding professional norms. Like if coming in late to work is not good, underdressing is not good when we're trying to, because if we want to continue to promote you through the organization and have you be a forward-facing image for our company, professionalism is huge. Being on time is huge. Working with your teammates is huge. If you have a problem, don't go and complain to your neighbor, but go and talk through your mentors in the company. And I think that whole thing that sometimes, and I think if you guys are very aware of it, in terms of you can't overdress, trying to make sure that you are, representing the culture of the company, and you're representing the company with every interaction. And I will tell you that even now with my son, who he's still young, I talk about, that there is no private persona and public persona. There's only a public persona now, and trying to remember that. I just had, a coach with people that had graduated with, degrees, and talking to them about mistakes that they can make because they don't realize that there are different norms once you go into a professional culture. I think that's the one thing. And I always think education, volunteering for projects, being a good team player, making sure your productivity is there, but also making sure that your own time. And I had a problem with it at the beginning, because when I first was about to get promoted to a manager, I used to always be on time. But literally, I was in heels running up the back steps to get to my desk on time. Always, my first 2 years I was there. And my boss goes, Gina, I'm going to promote you, but I never want to see you running full speed up the steps to get to your desk again. And I got it. And so I'm trying to tell you so that you understand that
if you start at 8, be there at 5 till 8, like, you know, and then everybody around you be like, wow, he gets there really early, and they don't know that you've only been there a minute before them. But I'm just saying that all of those things, it's a whole package. And we're looking at, as senior executives, we're looking at who we can promote that, you know, that's going to be a good representation of our companies. And so that's kind of my
That's wonderful. Thank you, Gina. Mark, do you have anything to add?
Yes, Jennifer, if you want to separate yourself to be the best underwriting candidate, you know what you need to do first? You need to do claims. Because the underwriting department, they always come to me. And why is that? Because after being in claims, you truly understand what you're underwriting and what we're selling, the promise of being there. And again, that foundation of claims, can't stress it enough. All the other departments want it, whether it's product management, underwriting, almost every territory sales manager was a claim rep for me at one time. So, and that's the marketing side. So I would, if I'm you, I'm considering claims. Feel free to give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it.
Thanks, Mark. Decker?
Yes, I think maybe I'll address that from a little bit more general standpoint. I agree with all the comments that have been made, especially about professionalism, and that is so important now. And I think the student mentioned the professional designation, and that is important too. I think, you know, getting a CPC or an ARM is not easy. It's hard, especially when you're starting a new career, maybe trying to balance a career and family. But it really is important to have something that will differentiate you from your peers. But aside from that, I would think that just working hard is probably the best way to differentiate yourself within a particular company or organization. And I don't necessarily mean by that working longer. I just mean working harder. And I think then you really have to dedicate yourself to that organization, to that profession, and just take every opportunity to learn and do the job right, check your work, be sure, you know, ask other people for their opinion, and just make sure you're doing the best you can. And I think the people that do that will be recognized, and they'll be the ones that will be selected for leadership positions because they did just outwork their peers.
Thank you, Decker. And Andrew Selman asked a question. Maybe you would take a lead on this one because it does kind of tie into what you mentioned as well. And Andrew wanted to know, from your perspective, what do you see the like people just starting, what do they struggle with most, and maybe how can they
that's a really good question. We don't talk about that much, and I think it's important for us as recruiters or as companies, we bring people in, is to make them aware of the challenges so they're not, you know, slapped in the face with it. And I think there's probably two things. One is, you know, going from the college life into a professional career. And I think, you know, Gina mentioned that there's some things that people just don't think about, but how you dress, how you comport yourself, how you talk to people is very, very important. But I'll speak specifically about insurance brokerage. I'm not necessarily from an underwriting or claim standpoint, but I know in a broker role, when someone starts out, especially people who come from great universities or great programs where they've got a lot of talent and ability, you know, their entire life they've been surrounded by people that care about them, and they are really confident in their abilities. And as an insurance broker, while it doesn't always last this way, there's a humbling aspect to it. We have to humble ourselves to prospective clients because they don't perceive they have a need for us. And I see students really struggle with that, especially it's almost kind of a paradox, like the more talented, the more skilled you are, sometimes the harder it is for you to humble yourself, unless you've had some humbling experience in your life. And so we make sure people are aware of that when you start out prospecting new clients, be prepared to be in a world where nobody really cares about you. And if you can make that transition for a period of time, then once you develop skills and expertise and a good client base, then it kind of reverses itself and it's not quite as humbling. But that is one of the things, especially someone starting out right out of college, and especially in a brokerage profession, is making that transition to where, you know, you have to earn your talents and abilities. You have to kind of earn that recognition by people, and that it takes a little bit of a while. And I think that can be daunting to someone who, as I say, has been very talented, you know, done very well in school and done very well in their life, and all of a sudden they're in an environment where they don't feel like they're doing so well, but they really are. It's just a kind of a pay in your dues kind of thing. But that would be the advice I would give.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I hadn't heard that one come up before, but it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you sharing it. Orlando, would you mind giving your thoughts on what new graduates struggle with that first year and how they can manage it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that's very important while you're going through your training, whether it's you're underwriting the eligibility guidelines, you're interpreting policy for coverage, or you're just learning how to sell an insurance policy. It's like, as you're gaining all that information, sometimes just remember that at the end of the day, insurance, you are dealing with human beings and with people. So sometimes these conversations doesn't necessarily have to be all about business conversations or underwriting policy or a guideline. You can just have normal conversations, personal conversations with whoever's on the other end of the phone, whether it's an insured or a claimant, or an attorney, to have those conversations, because insurance, it's very people oriented and it's very customer service based. So sometimes just having those conversations makes you feel a little bit more comfortable about who you're dealing with, whether it's your independent agent or a claimant, to them, where you can explain what you need to tell them, and they'll be able to understand, because you guys you guys kind of already established a different type of introduction, a more personal one. So just remember that you're still dealing with people and human beings. So it's okay to have conversations that aren't insurance related, to just get you more comfortable with your job in general, and whatever direction you decide to go to.
Thank you, Orlando. Mark, you've heard quite a few. What do you see come up with that first year?
Work-life balance. If you're in school and you're not working, you're living the life. But now you're all of a sudden going to transition to where you've got 40 hours of work and life, and learning how to balance that. The best way to do that, and one of the main things I look for in candidates, are people who have worked during school. It doesn't have to be 40 hours a week. It doesn't have to be 25 hours a week, but just show me that you can work, 15 hours a week and balance work with studying and projects and going to class. It shows me discipline. It shows me that you know how to prioritize and plan. So if you're not working, I encourage you to consider getting a part-time job to help prepare you for stepping into the real world.
Good advice. Thank you, Mark. And Gina, do you have any closing thoughts on topic before we go to the next question?
I do, actually. I really like Decker's comments on humility, because one thing that I preach is that you can learn something from everyone. And sometimes I see, someone comes in with a college degree and they may not think that they can learn something from somebody that may be 2 or 3 levels below them, like, let's say, a policy processing person or a file room clerk. And, those people understand the organization. They understand the personality. They understand, some of the visions, because they've been there. They know where, how the organization has grown and changed. And I think trying to make sure you can learn something from everyone. I would also tell you to read about your competitors and read about your company, because sometimes I think that you get so focused that, my department is underwriting, that we don't understand what the bigger mission of the company is. And agents matter, like your outward persona of a company really, really matters. And the one thing that I would ask your boss for is, could they provide you a cross-department mentor? Could they provide you somebody in another department that might be able to mentor and be able to expand your vision of their company and understand it more? They may or may not. And if they don't provide it for you, then you go find somebody. Go sit, when we get back in the office, go sit down at, the table near somebody that you don't know and talk about what they do. And I think trying to look at the bigger picture and read is very important. And also, you can learn something from everyone. And even if their perspectives are different than yours, keep trying to understand why their perspectives are different.
Thank you, Gina. I think we have time for a couple more questions. And the first one will be, let me ask this one about technology. How has technology changed your business in the last couple of years, and how do you see it changing going forward? Gina, do you want to start on that one?
Wow, technology. We've put in major systems. We've moved our systems to the cloud. We have tried to be on the cutting edge, and it's trying to keep up with what's going on. And I tell you to read. I read a lot. I go to a lot of seminars. I talk with other people in other industries about what's trends there. And I think, insurance has been almost a lagging industry with technology compared to some industries. And I think that those companies that will survive and thrive have got to embrace technology. And there's a lot of new jobs that will result in that. And I've even learned to do automated script testing. Like we can run testing against our system with automatic scripts. And that's something we started doing, probably 2 years ago. And I wish I had knew more about it 5 years ago, because we would have been more efficient. So you've got to drive efficiency and technology, and it's here to stay. So all of us grow to love it.
Thank you. Mark, I know with auto claims, you're certainly seeing it.
Wow, let me tell you, in the 33 years that I've been in claims, when I started off, we were doing handwritten notes. There was not a computer on a desk. When I went to the field, we were handwriting estimates and taking Polaroid pictures and taping them to a sheet of paper and mailing them back into the office. And some of you guys are so young, you probably don't even know what a Polaroid camera is. That's the one, you've heard the song Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture. It develops before your eyes. So yeah, we've come a long ways. Everything's digital. We're in a paperless environment now. I mean, your phone and computer, you get all of your information from there. Underwriting has changed tremendously. There used to be a ton of underwriters in personal auto, but now we have none because it's all automated. Right now we're testing a new system. It's a Balto system where it could be used in sales or claims, but it listens and it picks up on keywords that you say and will throw up on the screen. What's the word I'm looking for? It will throw up helpful information or reminders to help you ask a question to get to the information you need. Or it can throw up a checklist. And if the system does not hear you check off each box, it will remind you. So that's just amazing technology. Yeah, technology's come a long ways, and pretty much if you're not keeping up, you're not being competitive. You can't keep your expenses down, and you'll fall off.
Thank you. And we're getting a little tight on time, but Decker, do you have anything?
Sure. Well, kind of like Mark, I think back, and I often tell this as kind of a funny anecdote to students, is that when I started with the Aetna casualty, back right out of college, I say, what do you think the extent of my technology was? And they all kind of had different answers. The reality was I had a rotary dial telephone. That was it. No fax machines, no computers, no handheld calculators, no cell phones, no car phones. I mean, nothing. And so now, 40 some years later, I'm just amazed at the technology we have. And I think the big difference is back when I was an underwriter, if an agent called me about an account, they would call me and tell me about it. They would call me on my rotary dial telephone, tell me about the account, say, sure, send it in. But it took 3 days to get there. I had 3 days to think about it. Now we don't have time to think about things. We have to really think about how instinctive we can be, how our judgment has to be good. We have to be able to get knowledge quicker, which technology allows us to do, but we don't have time to think about things like we used to. I do think that's all still for the better. I think technology is making our ability to do more things quicker, but kind of like Mark said, I don't know that we have a choice. Technology is not an option. It's just something that's going to happen. And if we don't embrace it and take advantage of it, we will fall behind. So, I think overall, there's some downside to the amount of technology we have from the standpoint of loss of connectivity or personal relationships. I think there's some downside in terms of, it's a little bit more stressful, but it is what it is. And we have to embrace it and take advantage of it. But I think it makes us all better. But it's been, and I think just the amount of change that I've seen from a rotary dial telephone my cell phone probably acts like multiple computers did 20 years ago. What are we going to have 10 years from now? It will be amazing.
Thank you, Decker. Orlando, I'm going to pivot just real quick. It's a related question, but Bianca Rodriguez asked, COVID has certainly changed the workplace, and she's curious what changes do you think are going to stay in place when things get back to a post-COVID world?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, it kind of ties into what I was going to say about technology, regarding the COVID environment. So usually the training at, any entry-level job and any insurance company, it's going to be hands-on. You want to learn directly from the people around you and from probably a trainer directly. So now with COVID, with everything happening, we've had to turn all of that hands-on training to a virtual format, a virtual setting. So our department in home office education and training has really converted every single pamphlet and workbook or presentation to a virtual setting to these associates who have been hired in through COVID and beyond, who are more than likely going to start remote for the first, maybe 4 to 5, 6 months, who knows, depending how when we're fully back into the office. Now that technology has had to improve and gone online. So where now there's tons of more screen sharings, tons more, probably like you guys' classes are more individual work and individual research. Now, obviously with the access of, a trainer or a mentor, if you can pick up the phone or, get a hold of them, but it's really not what it used to be before, where you're sitting around another group of people who are training with you alongside you that started around the same time. You're learning the same lines, learning the same coverage, and then you can bounce ideas back and forth from one another. So it's definitely improved it in a way that everything's not virtual. I don't think it hinders it because it's the same material, but pretty much like everyone else has said, it's something that we've had to adapt to and kept up with going forward through COVID and beyond.
Thank you, Orlando, and thank all the panelists. Really great advice, and I appreciate your time. Lacey or Jackie, I believe you have a drawing here at the end.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hand it over to Cameron. He's gonna do a random drawing of our attendees. Thank you again to Gina. We have 3 $50 gift cards. So if you are one of the lucky winners, just chat me your contact information and just an email, telephone number, and mailing address, and we'll get those to you. So Cameron, you want to take it away?
Yeah.
Okay, so exciting. And while this is going on, I wanted to say thank you again to our panelists for joining us today. This has been a really great session. So, okay, Nola, wonderful. Our first winner. Nola, if you don't mind, yay, chatting me your information, that'll be great. And next up, Cameron. And thank you, Cameron, for putting together our little wheel.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of work, but we appreciate it. And it's fun. All right, Vanessa, number 2. Vanessa, go ahead and chat me that information. And last up. And students, all of the sessions as a part of the career fair this week have drawings at the end. So the more you attend, the more chances you have to win. So, and David is our last winner. So if you 3 wouldn't mind chatting me your information, we'll work with Gina to get those gift cards to you. So thank you again to everyone for participating. We'll have this recorded as well for those who couldn't make it. And I hope to see you at our future sessions.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Good job, everybody.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
It's really nice, Mark and